So I'm going to show you Audio Suite plugins, which are what we call rendered plugins. And what we mean by rendered is that we have to select a portion of audio and then process it through the computer and then write it to disk so that we're actually creating a new file on the hard drive. When we create that file, it'll be automatically added back into our projects and placed in our regions list, but also it will replace the region that we had on the timeline. So I'm going to do that. I've duplicated this boom sound and I'm going to solo it. But there's one thing that I want to show you, and that's because we have created an aux track, and so there's something that's going to happen. Normally, when I solo a track, I would play it back and I would be able to hear just that track. But you can see the level meters are moving, and because we have created an aux track, it's not allowing us to go through, it's not allowing us to hear it, so we have to set the aux track to what we call solo safe. So to do that, I'm going to command click or control click on the aux track on the solo button. So again, the solo button that is on the aux track. So pressing the control key on Windows, command on the Mac, and now it grays out. I don't know if you can see that on your computers. So now when I play solo, press solo on this individual track, it goes and plays back. So I'm going to do that first. Go ahead and get rid of this marker. It doesn't mean anything anymore. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select this region and I'm going to process it. So I'm going to go up to my menu and choose. In this case, I'm going to choose flanger. So I'm going to play with some flanging tools. But the basic window is roughly the same. You'll notice that as soon as we choose a plugin, it gives us a plugin window, and it looks very similar to RTOS or real-time audio suite plugins. There's some things that are common to all of these plugins, and one is I can choose from the top left button and go back and choose what type of plugin that I want to use. And again, whether or not this is going to affect my playlist or regions list, whether or not it's going to affect my entire selection, or if it'll just do region by region. So if I had multiple regions selected, this would have bearing on it. And then getting over to where it says presets, you'll notice there's a little downward triangle for options, factory default, and then there's some basic ones that they've created and plugged in. So if I just push preview, and I have to push preview because pushing play won't allow me to hear the effect, I can hear what that preview is going to do. So I'm going to push this little plus sign, and this just sets me through different presets. It looks like I'm at the end. So that's going through the plus and minus buttons and just choosing. Now there's not a whole lot of presets here. If I click on this little menu window button, it shows me all the settings that I have, and I can see I only have 5. And so this is another way for me to choose how they play back. And if I come down to this little button down here that says increment setting every X seconds, right now it's set to 1 second. It'll go through those 1 second at a time. So I'm going to set it to 5 seconds since my sample is about 5 seconds long. Turn it off and then turn it back on. Oops. Oops. In this case, it's not working. I know there's something minor that I'm overlooking. So that's one way to preview and go through. You can also play with the settings, and I do encourage you to come through and play with the settings. But for now, I'm just going to choose slow and deep for this. And maybe change feedback just a bit. And I think I'll increase the effect by making it a little bit more wet. And so when I have a setting that I think that I like, I'll choose process. So it went kind of nuts, but let's listen to it. So that's a little bit too much. So that's the downfall of Audio Suite, is you don't always get what you think you're getting. So let me go back in, choose flanger. I mean, I'll just maybe stick with that default slow and deep and then process it. We'll call it good. If I wanted to, I could process it a little bit more. And maybe increase feedback just a bit. So that's what it sounds like. So now if I unsolo that, what I can do is I will take, let me rename this. So this will be boom processed. And this is just boom. And I will increase the volume of the processed boom and decrease it of the regular boom. Oops, and now I have a timing problem. Oops, and I just caused that to loop, which I didn't want it to do. Wrong tool. So I might have to fade this other one out. But you get the idea. That is using rendered effects, or as Pro Tools calls them, Audio Suite effects inside of Pro Tools.